Are you tired of marketing events where nobody's actually done the work? Unpacked is different. February 18th through 19th, it's virtual, it's free, real lifecycle marketers sharing tactics you can steal today. Register at cust.io/TMM.
Welcome to the Marketing Millennials, the No BS Marketing Podcast. I'm Daniel Murray, and join me for unfiltered conversations with the brains behind marketing's coolest companies. The one request I tell our guests, stories or it didn't happen. Get ready to turn the up. We are back with another episode of the Marketing Millennials Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. He's a chief growth officer of WK Kellogg, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, but something special that's happening in the Super Bowl with one of my favorite cereals of all time. So excited to talk about it. But I'll let Doug introduce himself quickly, and then we'll get into what Raisin Bran's doing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, I'm Doug VandeVelde, chief growth officer, as you say, for WK Kellogg. And I've been with the Kellogg company for about 28 years now. So love cereal, been around cereal for a long time, and happy to be here and talk about Raisin Bran.
Let's kick it off with a serious question. The first serious question, is Raisin Bran your favorite cereal, or is it something else?
It's one of my favorites. You know, I mean, being in cereal for so long, I have like different cereals for different days. Raisin Bran is my number one travel cereal. Whenever I'm traveling, I eat Raisin Bran. At home, I switch between Raisin Bran, Frosted Mini Wheats, and Kashi. Those are my three favorite. And then when I'm feeling it, you know, at night after work, I usually have a big bowl of Frosted Flakes.
You know, I think Raisin Bran's a good dinner cereal too. It's a good, I love Raisin Bran for dinner. So, but I want to get into why 2026 was the right moment for Raisin Bran to appear at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, when you look at what's happening in health and what's happening in culture, we really think that fiber is the next big health trend. You know, I mean, obviously it's been protein here for the last number of years, but fiber is really on the rise. And, you know, protein is in everything. So if you want to get more protein, it's easy these days. But if you want to get more fiber in your diet, it's not always easy, you know. And in fact, 95% of people don't get enough fiber. And cereal is the easiest, tastiest, best way to get more fiber in your diet. So with all that happening, we thought, you know, hey, if you need to reach 95% of people with a message that's highly relevant, where do you go? Well, you go to the Super Bowl. And that's why we're there.
And I think it's cool because I want you to describe why you chose William Shatner as the spot. And then also I like the play on words, which I think is pretty funny of like Will Shat. But I think I want to go into why he was chosen. Why was he the spot? Yeah.
Sure. So, you know, I mean, you know that there is a lot of science that supports the importance of fiber in your diet. And we tell that story through the lens of dietitians. But when it comes to the Super Bowl, you know, we wanted to make it lighthearted. We wanted to tell the fiber story in a way that just puts a smile on people's face. Obviously, there's a lot of use of celebrity to do that in the Super Bowl, and the bar is very high to make good creative that people will, you know, find relevant and maybe have a smile at. So we thought, you know, that we have a long history with William Shatner in our company, in Kellogg. I mean, 25 years ago, William Shatner was doing the All Bran 2-week challenge commercials. Hard to believe that was 25 years ago, but yeah. And so he loves fiber, he loves Kellogg, and you know, we like to work with celebrities, with influencers who believe in what we believe in. So that was number one. William Shatner really believes in the importance of fiber. He loves Kellogg, he loves Raisin Bran. And then, you know, creatively, you know, we're working with the Vayner agency, and they're excellent. They're very creative people. And so the notion of using William Shatner, who loves us, and then the play on words with his name helps us tell the fiber story in a funny and fun way. And so, you know, Will Shat as the shorthand for William Shatner kind of really works as a play on words, you know, in our spots.
Yeah, because I think, I mean, people who don't get enough fiber are not going to do what the play on words are talking about. So
exactly.
And that's like 95%, like you said, Americans are dealing with this issue, which is good to be the brand that is getting ahead of a trend, instead of like, so how do you think about that? Like, how do you think about, okay, what goes into making that educated guess of, okay, fiber is the next big thing that we think we're going to double down on?
We obviously do a lot of our own consumer research, so we're constantly talking with consumers, doing research with consumers to say, what are they trying to get more of in their diet? And last year we saw that for the first time, there were the same percent of people that were trying to get more fiber in their diet as there were people trying to get more protein in their diet, which is a huge deal. Fiber had been going like that for a number of years. Then you look at culture, something like Instagram, searches for high fiber foods is up 159%, on Instagram. So those are signals that like, hey, there's something happening here. People are getting more and more interested. There's more and more kind of fancy, high-priced solutions for fiber in your feed, if you're interested in that stuff in Instagram. And what we see is like, hey, cereal is there. It's been there the whole time, and it's the easiest, tastiest, best way to get more fiber in your diet. So it's a message that just naturally fits with what people are looking for. You don't have to tell them what cereal is. They've all heard of it. They know what Raisin Bran is. And so it's just a reminder that it's the way to get fiber into your diet.
Yeah, and I know that, the Vayner Group and then Gary Vee's very big on Super Bowl ads being like the underpriced attention. And if he would do anything, do a Super Bowl ad. But I want to go into, now the Super Bowl is going to happen. What does success look like? Is it more searches of fiber going up? Is more brands starting to like double down on fiber? And obviously cereal sales is probably a big one, but what does that look like as like success metrics?
So I think the first thing is like, we want to get engagement, so again, the Super Bowl these days it's an ecosystem of screens. It's not just one spot on the day. It's the whole week, 10-day lead in. A lot happens on social media. We've been doing a lot on social media over the last 10 days, and we've gotten a lot of engagement, great engagement, and I think that's the first KPI. Are you getting engagement? And we've definitely seen that. We've seen a tremendous reaction to what we've been doing in social. Then you say, are you changing sentiment? Do more people go, oh yeah, I do need more fiber in my diet, and yeah, I am going to consider Raisin Bran. So we call that sentiment. You change the sentiment, and then ultimately, the ultimate goal is sell more cereal, and that's obviously our goal and our ultimate KPI, and something that we're driving for. This is, the Super Bowl is the kickoff to a year-long push on fiber. It isn't the end, it's the start. And so we've got a whole year's plan. We go right from the Super Bowl right into the Olympics. We'll have our spots on the Olympics and a full year of supporting the fiber message. So yeah, so it's kind of a journey, and our journey just starts now.
Here's what I hate about most marketing conferences. Consultants who haven't sent a campaign in 5 years telling you to optimize your funnel. Unpack kills the noise. It's February 18th through 19th, virtual, and packed with practitioners who actually build the stuff. AI workflows, multi-channel strategies, the stuff that actually moves the needle. No one-on-one content, no panels where everyone agrees, just advanced tactics from people in the trenches. Last year, over 3,500 lifecycle marketers showed up. Join them at cust.io/TMM.
Yeah, it's good to be the brand that's vocal on something that is actually super important to diet that actually, and be, if you're the first mover, it looks way better than being the person who caters on. But also, it's good because, it's not like the solution has been around for 25 years, just people aren't having the eyes open. Right. And Raisin Bran is very nostalgic cereal.
Definitely.
I know in your career, you are big at using mascots as like a big proponent on your, so how do you think about using Sunny as like a big proponent of this Raisin Bran journey.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, we love our mascots. Obviously, we got Tony the Tiger. He's the OG. He's the main guy, and he does good in the world. And so Tony and Frosted Flakes is a big thing. Toucan Sam, Fruit Loops. But Sonny, as the mascot for Raisin Bran, the brings a sense of optimism, a sense of joy, things that are kind of elusive in today's world. I mean, people want more optimism. They want more reason to be optimistic. And Sonny kind of brings that. It's funny, we've never really had a Sonny costume, the way we'll have a Tony the Tiger costume and Tony's always out in the world. We had never had a Sonny costume until now. And Sonny is actually in our spot, as you know. And Sonny will be a lot more kind of out in the world. And I think that just brings the whole notion of optimism. I mean, the thing about fiber is the science really shows that it not only is good for your gut health, but more and more it affects your energy level, your mood, and all these things that the optimistic Sonny can really have an impact on.
Yeah, I like that. And I also think that brands don't do this often of making their spot more of educational moment than a selling moment. I think educational content is super important to just get that aha moment, even if it gets someone that day to be like, wait, have I ate enough fiber today, versus someone who's starting their whole new journey of having more fiber. And then you said that you're doing this like throughout the year. What does that look like when you're planning? Okay, I want fiber to be the focus. Raisin Bran is probably the best cereal to do that with. How long ahead do you plan that? What does the planning look like to make this all happen, that it goes a year long?
I mean, it's at least a 6 month in advance plan. You don't have everything all nailed down, but you start working on this 6 months in advance. But we really, we with Vayner really started working on this in earnest probably 3 months ago. And the thing that's great is Raisin Bran is in the Super Bowl, but then starting the day after in the Olympics, we'll have our other high fiber cereals on as well. So Mini Wheats and All Bran will also have a William Shatner spot, 15-second spot that will play along with the Raisin Bran for the rest of the year. So it's three brands that are really going to kind of lead this fiber movement.
I mean, that's good. I mean, it's good to, I think, for any brand to showcase, because some people I know, for example, like my wife's not a big raisin person. So
exactly.
She might not want that cereal. So if you're showcasing other ways that through your collection of cereals of how to get fiber. Exactly. But low-key, I'm going to just bring this randomly. There's at Publix, they make this Raisin Bran. I don't know if it's with the Raisin Bran muffin. It's the best thing in the world. It's the best thing in the world.
Definitely. We have all brand muffin recipes, Raisin Bran muffin recipes. Again, just a way to use cereal to get fiber into your diet. Yeah, muffins are a great way to do it.
For people who haven't run a Super Bowl ad, like how does one decide what slot they want and where they should be in the Super Bowl? Because I know a lot of people have different slots, and it's a big decision where to go because you're spending a good amount of money to do this. How does one decide where we're going to plug ourselves?
So we have a really good media agency, Starcom, that works on this with NBC, and you work out, where you want to be in the game. Is your message relevant to any different part of the game? One of the things we've done this year is we've also bought the streaming. So we bought the Peacock streams the Super Bowl. So we're in the streaming as well. So we bought linear TV through the biggest markets, and we bought the streaming. And so you can have different placements and depends on the different buy. In the streaming service, we're going to be right before halftime. That's a time where, everybody's still watching. The game shouldn't be out of hand by then. And so we think that's a good play. But yeah, it depends on your negotiation with NBC. And if you get lucky and it's a really close game and you're in the fourth quarter, that's fantastic. It can go the other way too, though. So yeah, so we're in the second quarter and we like that position.
And then also, I mean, it's good linear because you could buy with the Olympics, which is also on Peacock, NBC. So you have so you can have that. You could have a structure the deal to be, hey, we want to be here, we want to be here, we're going to be all year. So just let us know to package that up for.
Exactly.
I want to also ask, I know this slot is a big slot, but what is one of your other favorite Kellogg campaigns that you worked on in the past?
Yeah. I have to say, a few years ago, we were in the official sponsors of the Olympics, Summer Olympics in London. Remember that 2012? Fantastic, iconic Olympics in London. And we were the proud sponsors of the start. So our kind of premise was that, hey, the finish gets all the glory, the finish gets all the credit, but it all happens at the start. And so we had a swimmer who was swimming forward, and then all of a sudden she started swimming backward. And it ended with Kellogg's, the start, see you at breakfast. So the start of the day, the start of the race, the start of the Olympics. We were on the opening ceremonies, and we were the proud sponsors of the start. So really another epic campaign, an epic time. I mean, the London Olympics were phenomenal. And and we really drove Kellogg's and the brand equity around Kellogg's as the best start to the day.
And I mean, athletes are very good role models to be able to push this. I mean, they're doing forever. But I wanted to ask you, the cereal category has evolved a lot over the last 10 years. But what do you see revolve in the next decade, and what excites you the most about like the future of cereal?
Yeah, honestly, I think cereal is ready for a resurgence. I think it's ready to get squarely on trend because it offers the combination of taste, health, and value. And people need all those things. You know, I mean, the everyday people need value products that are both tasty and healthy, and cereal's right at the center of that. I mean, we've got a whole campaign going on right now that talks about how cereals are actually more simple than you think. Like a lot of our cereals only have 4 ingredients, 4 natural ingredients: corn, salt, sugar, and malt. That's it. Like a Frosted Flake. That's all a Frosted Flake has. It's 4 ingredients. And people, when they hear that, they're like, yeah, because they're looking for clean labels, no chemicals, you know. And so that simplicity message really plays well. Obviously, the fiber, when fiber becomes the next big health trend, that's going to be a big driver of cereal. We have Kashi as one of our brands, which is a great product for people who are looking for kind of the modern way to manage their weight. And then there's just basic fun. Tony the Tiger, Toucan Sam, bring people joy. Joy, again, very elusive in our society today. And so a little bit of joy from a bowl of Frosted Flakes and Tony the Tiger, I think is value to consumers. So I think cereal is ready for a big resurgence.
Yeah, especially, I mean, this is a lot of a millennial audience, and a lot of our millennials grew up with Tony the Tiger, grew up with the major mascots all the time. And most of us could probably know all the slogans of all these great, but there's been so much noise in the category and then in the health industry over the last year. So re-educating on, but going back to the basics of, okay, there's enough talking about protein. Everything's adding protein now. The most random things now have protein, like protein water and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's talk about something else that will go good with having a protein, which is with this fiber.
That's a great point that you make. You know, like the combination of protein and fiber, especially when you think about a bowl of Raisin Bran, and then the milk that you eat it with, which brings a lot of protein and vitamin D along. Like that's like a magic combination, cereal and milk. And we're doing a lot more marketing in that area as well. That, you know, the combination of cereal and milk brings the protein and the fiber that you need. And those two things work in a synergistic way for your health.
I also want to ask you, what is the role of a chief growth officer look like at Kellogg's? Like, what does your day-to-day look like? What decisions are you making? Because obviously there's so many moving pieces. Like Vayner is running this. You have Starcom running buys. You have a whole team to manage. So what does it look like day to day for a chief growth officer at
That's a great question. You know, a lot of companies have gone to chief growth officers because it integrates several very important things and tries to get that all moving in the same direction. So in my world, it's marketing, it's the e-commerce and omni marketing, it's R&D, product development, and then it's insights and analytics. And the idea is to bring all those groups together so everyone's moving in the same direction to really drive ideas and drive growth. So I spent a lot of time working at the intersection of products and ideas and insights. And the team, we work together to try and find ways to really break through. So, whereas before, companies would have chief marketing officers who would only focus on marketing, a chief growth officer really tries to be a more integrated role across those dimensions I just mentioned.
Yeah, because I feel like one of the most important parts of marketing is distribution. And if you're not part of the distribution, the making of a product, how are you going to be able to market it? You're just getting a product and then you have to come up with a campaign to do it. You need to be part of distribution is probably the most important part of a product going to market. And if you're not part of the beginning stages of how it's made, packaging, what is the major parts, and you're not in the room, at least as a marketer, you're losing so much insight to be able to go to market effectively.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. I think in today's world, you've got to figure out what you want to ultimately end up with in terms of claims and what you want to say. I mean, we have a great example. We just restaged our Kashi Go lineup where the marketing and the R&D team worked together to come up with what the consumer would really want, which is a 10 gram of protein, 10 gram of fiber, single digit sugar product that tasted great. So the R&D team and the marketing team decided that together in the beginning, and then they worked together all along to kind of restage that part of the brand. And it's gone fantastic because we ended up with a product that the consumer ultimately really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, even this like Will Shat spot, I mean, the number one problem that our people are having is that they can't go to the bathroom. Like that's like the number one issue. Like you're trying to solve the number one issue of so many people I know are leaning on supplementation instead of like food to be able to do this, where food is a way better option than supplementation. So you lean on the problem, you just do it in a creative way, you educate that your product could do it, but it takes a lot of it takes market research to know that, okay, let's lean on the number one problem and how to solve it is fiber. And we have fiber that solves it. So let's tell everybody how our product in a funny way. So,
and especially, after the Super Bowl, there's a lot of people that, don't eat 100% healthy the day of the Super Bowl, maybe a few too many drinks. And so the Monday after is the perfect day to be like, hey, I need to reset my gut health routine because I do not feel good today, And so that's the day. That's the day to go, okay, I'm going to start eating more fiber. I'm going to improve my gut health. That's going to improve my energy overall. And so, so just the Super Bowl works for us in so many ways.
And then one question I ask everybody on this podcast is, what is a marketing hill you would die on?
I think transparency and truth. There's so much fake in the world today that if you're a brand that is transparent and you're real and you're human and you're fact-based, I think that wins the race in the long term. There's such a temptation to be all sizzly, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the marketing hill for me is transparency, truth, humanity, all the things that win over the long term.
And what is something that people, if they missed the Super Bowl, that they're missing if they didn't see the ad during the Super Bowl?
I mean, they need to go back and look at Will Shat. I mean, Will Shat has been everywhere, and the response has been amazing. I mean, you've seen it in the social. People think William Shatner and Raisin Bran are both national treasures. I just love that so much, So I think he just spans so many audiences. People remember him for so many roles that he did. And again, he's super credible and super authentic. I mean, he's 94 years old, so fiber must be really good for you if you look and act like he does when you're 94 years old. A lot of people are saying that to us. So yeah, I think it's not just the spots, but it's like people's reaction to the spots. I get so much out of that just reading the comments on Instagram or whatever. I think that's part of the Super Bowl these days.
And I love that social is part of the strategy too. I think a lot of brands like forget, okay, like you have a spot, but how do I make the spot go on for a long period of time? And social is like one of the best ways to do that.
Agree, 100%.
I know you have a hard stop, and I want to thank you for coming on. And I'm excited to see all the reactions on social after this goes live. So
okay,
excited.
Daniel, fantastic. Great to meet you. Great to be on your podcast here.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good day.
Thanks so much for listening. Keep tuning in to hear more great insights from the coolest marketers from around the world. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and follow the Marketing Millennials podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, I would greatly appreciate you giving us a 5-star rating. It helps bring more marketers into our community.